Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Vihari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Jayo Yashodanandana Jayo Braja Janaranjana Jayo Braja Janaranjana Yashodana Jayo Braja Janaranjana Braja Janaranjana Jayo Yamunatiravanachari Jayo Kunjari Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtotara Shri Srimad Abhaya Charana Ravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Nitai Gaura Premanande Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru Nirvana. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiret. This morning we read from Srimad Bhagavatam 10th Canto, chapter 72, text number 6. So this is in the meter is called Vasanta Tilaka. Please repeat. Na brahmanasva parabhedamatistav syat sarvatmana samadrishasva sukhanubhute samsevatam suratarorivate prasada Sevanurupamudayo na viparyayotra. Na brahmanasva parabhedamatistav sarvatmana samadrishasva sukhanubhute Samsevatam suratarorivate prasada Sevanurupamudayo na viparyayotra. Na brahmanasva parabhedamatistav Sarvatmana samadrishasva sukhanubhute
Samsevatam suratarorivate prasada
Samsevatam suratarorivate prasada Sevanurupamudayo na viparyayotra. Na brahmanasva parabhedamatistav syat Sarvatmanas samadrishasva sukhanubhute
Sevatam suratarorapite prasada.
Samsevatam suratarorivate prasada
Sevanurupam mudana viparyayotra.
Sevanurupamudayo nriparyayotra. Ladies. Na brahmanasya paradheramatistavasya Sarvatmanas samadrishasva sukhanubhute Samsevatam suratarorivate prasada Sevanurupamudayo viparyayotra. Na, not Brahmana, of the Absolute Truth. Sva, of own. Para, and others. Bheda, differential. Mati, mentality. Tava, of you. Syat, there can be. Sarva, of all beings. Atmana, of the soul. Sama, equal. Drisha, whose vision. Sva, within himself. Sukha, of happiness. Anubhute, whose experience. Samsevatam, for those who properly worship. Surataro, of the heavenly desire tree. Iva, as if. Te, your. Prasada, grace. Seva, with the service. Anurupam, in accordance. Udaya, desirable results. Na, not. Viparyayo, contradiction. Atra, in this. Translation: within your mind there can be no such differentiation as this is mine and this is another's, because you are the supreme absolute truth, the soul of all beings, always equipoised and enjoying transcendental happiness within yourself. Just like the heavenly desire tree, you bless all who properly worship you, granting their desired fruits in proportion to the service they render to you. There is nothing wrong in this. So for those who have not been here in the past days and weeks, this is the beginning of the chapter. It describes the assembly of Yudhishthira Maharaj, and he's addressing Lord Krishna. So this is the last words he says. He's submitting a request. So he's saying, justifying what he already asked him. Let's hear the purport. Shiva Sridhar Swami explains that a desire tree has no material attachments or partiality, but simply bestows its fruits upon those who deserve them, and not upon others. Jiva Goswami Prabhupada adds that a desire tree does not think, this person is fit to worship me, but that other person is not. Rather, a desire tree is satisfied with all who properly serve it. And the Lord acts in the same way, as explained here by King Yudhishthira. Shiva Vishwanath Chakravarti adds that no one should accuse Lord Krishna of being envious of one person and showing favoritism towards another. Since the Lord is Swasukhanubhuti, experiencing his own happiness within himself, he has nothing to gain or lose in relation to conditioned souls. Rather, he reciprocates according to how they approach him. Srila Prabhupada very nicely sums up this point as follows in his rendering of King Yudhishthira's statement. So the rest is Prabhupada's words from Krsna book. And he is speaking in the name of Yudhishthira Maharaj. If one takes to Krishna consciousness, his life becomes fulfilled both materially and spiritually. This does not mean that you, my Lord, are partial to the Krishna conscious person and indifferent to the non-Krishna conscious person. You are equal to everyone. That is your declaration. You cannot be partial to one and not interested in others, because you are sitting in everyone's heart as the Super Soul and giving everyone the respective results of these fruitive activities. You give every living entity the chance to enjoy this material world as he desires. As the Super Soul, you are sitting in the body along with the living entity, giving him the results of his own actions, as well as opportunities to turn towards you, towards your devotional service by developing Krishna consciousness. You openly declare that one should surrender unto you, giving up all other engagements, and that you will take charge of him, giving him relief from the reactions of all sins. You are like the desire tree in heavenly planets, which awards benediction according to one's desires. Everyone is free to achieve the highest perfection. But if one does not so desire, then your awarding of lesser benedictions is not due to partiality. Mukam karoti vachalam pagum langayati grim nitkripatamaham shri gurum dinatharinam. So welcome everyone. Thank you for coming. You must have been tired. All those who just arrived yesterday from a long trip. How many weeks it was? 3 weeks. You are tired? Okay. But you're here in the morning to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. It's wonderful. I heard from Shyamananda Prabhu that you are so nicely engaged in Harinams and all kinds of other devotional service while traveling. So this is a wonderful program. I hope it was very fulfilling for you. And nice, the last couple of days in Radhadesh will be also a wonderful experience. So let us summarize what Yudhishthira Maharaj asked Krishna. So he addressed the Lord in the assembly, where all great sages are present, and he is asking Krishna to give him permission and blessing to perform a special sacrifice called Rajasuya. So he explains why he wants that. For he says, with this sacrifice we'll worship your vibhutis, your powerful manifestations, specifically the demigods, your empowered officers in the universe. But my actual purpose with performing this sacrifice is this. He says, first of all, I will establish who are you. Because some people think that you are just an ordinary person. And for a devotee, that's a very painful situation, that ignorant people ignore or accuse even the Lord of either saying that doesn't, such a supreme power, supreme Lord doesn't exist, or if he exists, is limited, and especially if he exists, that I'm equal to that supreme, so I'm supreme, or my goal is to become that supreme. So Yudhishthira Maharaj says, I want to show to the world who you are. And how will that happen? Because in that sacrifice, I will invite all the best of the best in the whole universe, all the leaders. So this is what happens when there are some big events. And the leaders come, and in such sacrifices, Rajasuya, all the demigods are invited, and great sages and powerful leaders of the whole universe. So part of the sacrifice is that in the beginning, the best person, the supreme person, should be honored and worshipped. So Yudhishthira Maharaj thought, well, when we do that, and everybody, the great souls, the great sages, demigods, they will point at you and say, he is the best, he is the supreme, he is the Lord of all. Let's worship him. So everybody will see and they'll be impressed, right? So first, that's my first goal. I will show to the world who you are. And second, in the previous verse, he said, I want to show what is the power of your service, of those who serve you. What is the power of bhakti? The power, the authority, the excellence of bhakti. And I will also want to show that those who worship you, what is their position compared to those who don't. So a few things he wants to show. Who is Krishna? What is the power of serving him and having devotion? And if you are in that category, what will you gain? So then, today he explains in the last verse what we read, that he says, you are impartial, and it's very befitting that you give everyone the results, just like the tree in the heavenly planets called Kalpataru or Surataru, which fulfills everyone's desires according to what they deserve. And therefore, it's very befitting that you agree to my proposal. That's my request. So now, just to understand what Rajasuya sacrifice means in our terms, it's not just a simple ceremony. It requires vast amounts of wealth and power. If we compare it with nowadays, only like things which or a program or some special event the most wealthy nations can do. For example, like America, they have their NASA program. They can send to the moon expeditions and things like that. So only they can do it, or most powerful nations. So it requires a vast amount of wealth, knowledge, expert scientists, technology. So same thing with the Rajasuya. And it requires so much wealth and power and influence. You have to you have to prove that you are the ruler of everyone, and everyone is accepting you, and you have to have the best of knowledgeable person, the best transcendental scientists, brahmanas, who can make the success of this ceremony. So these things, they have their, of course, immediate results. For example, like sending to the moon some expeditions. They have their justifications, will explore what is there, and it will be for the benefit for the world, right? That's we hear, and that's why they spend hundreds of millions and now billions of dollars. Okay, but there is another side of it, especially if you look in the historical perspective, that there was a competition who will go first in the moon, right? And it was a competition between the two worlds, the capitalist and the communist world. So America was, we will be the first, we'll send the first. And it's not that something special happened, if it at all happened, that somebody touched what they brought, some earth of something, some rock, nothing specifically valuable. But the whole program and the whole impact to the world was very great. In other words, there is another level of this. And this is very similar to what Yudhishthira Maharaj says. I want to demonstrate something to the world. Just like in those days, America wanted to demonstrate we're the best, we're the most powerful, our system is better. And another example we can give is like something which, for example, a royal wedding or a wedding of some great wealthy family. For example, recently, if you heard of what was the famous wedding? Ambani. So how much they spent? Anyone knows? Any guess? 5,000? 500? 500. Yeah, so according to the estimation of Guardian, they say it's 600 million US dollars. So it's a lot of money. Okay, the previous, for his daughter, I think he spent 40 million. So now that's the real thing for his son, Anand, marrying Radhika. So they spent 600 million for all the events. So some, of course, people say, well, what is this extravagance and why they show so much? But there is something more than just spending this money, because there is such an impact. The whole world is impressed, right? They're showing to the world something, not about this family only, but about India and how powerful it is and how it's getting closer and closer to one of the first three most powerful economies. And this is called a soft power. So the strong power or hard power is by like military and just direct influence, which for Rajasuya you needed that. You have to go and challenge all the nations and say you have to submit or there is a war. And most of them they submitted. But the soft power of it is the people learn something just by observing this. And like, you know, how is this working? The soft power, for example, of 13 years ago when there was this wedding of Prince William, you know how many people in the whole world watched it? Any guesses? 2 billion, yeah, correct. 2 billion people watch that. And it's much more than, for example, how many they see the Super Bowl or some local event in some, or the World Football Cup. So it's much more. And it's not just entertainment. It's showing something, and the results of this for the economy of the UK and everything else also calculated as billions. So that's the influence of power. And people understand that, and they know that they, through these, they will influence the minds of people, and they try to. That's even better than, you know, hard control. If you can control their minds through culture, through, you know, values, if you establish that. So exactly what Yudhishthira Maharaj is trying to do. I want to establish that you are the best, you're the supreme, and Bhakti is the best. And whoever does that, whoever is serving you, is, as Prabhupada very nicely puts it here, will be fulfilled materially and spiritually also. So this is the goal of Yudhishthira Maharaj. And now he's, of course, one of the greatest leaders in the world at that time. And if he does that, and if all the others who come, they do that and show to the world what bhakti is and what is the power of bhakti, then people will follow. They will be impressed. Because Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, or Jiva Goswami in the purport explains that people mostly are impressed by wealth. And if somebody says and speaks something very lofty or something special, you know, people may be impressed, but this demonstration of wealth, especially in power, is really impressing. So because of that, Yudhishthira Maharaj wanted, yes, Rajasuya is the most, you require the greatest wealth to do it. And as Krishna says, Yat Arachi Shreshtas. Shreshtas mean people who are influential. This is the word for Sanskrit for great person, leader, influencer. They Shreshta. So whatever they do, the ordinary people, the jana, they follow. And whatever standards these leaders establish, then the whole world fall. So that's how it works, and Krishna very nicely explains that in Bhagavad Gita. So therefore, the leaders, they are so responsible. And Krishna wanted to put devotees as leaders because they will show proper example. Not that you have a leader who is absolutely selfish and morally degraded, and etc., etc. People will see that and think that's the standard. That's what we have to do. That's how we have to be. So, Yatat Acharati Shrestha. So, here Yudhishthira Maharaj is giving that example. And in the verse he says now that, my Lord, you are swapara. You don't see others as own, and as basically it means making a distinction between my people and the other people. And this is the difference between a spiritual vision or samadarshi and a materialistic vision. So when the conditions always influenced by the modes, we always make this distinction. I like you, I hate you. And this is so common, and especially nowadays, and in Kali Yuga, that's how things work. That's why it's full of conflicts. Kali means conflict on all levels. So we see this extreme confrontation nowadays between parties and different ideologies, and people are ready to, fight and kill each other. For what? Even football fans, for one football team with the other, they're ready to fight and kill each other, for this, or political parties, and then, political leaders, they say, these are my people, right? And the other guy is there. So this is very common, and this is this mentality of mine and the others, my friends and the enemies. But Yudhishthira Maharaj says that Krishna has no such vision. Although he's appealing, I want to show that your devotees are the best. Still, you're impartial. And he gives the example of a tree, a special tree. Of course, this tree is obviously in the spiritual world, a Kalpataru, but also in the heavenly planets, it seems. And the tree awards benedictions or fulfill desires according to what you want, what you ask, without considering, who you are, right? Whether the tree likes you or not. It works like that. So there is no partiality. There is no prejudice, no favoritism. So Krishna is like that. So this is the point of Yudhishthira Maharaj. He's very impartial, and he responds according to the service. And this is also what Krishna says in this famous verse from Bhagavad Gita. Anyone remembers what he says about his reciprocation? Ye atam ma prapadite. So first in another verse, previously, that's in the 9th chapter, Ye atam jai Shri he says that samoham sarvabhuteshu, same similar thing, samoham, I am equal to everyone. I envy no one, nadveshti, and no one is dear to me or is a special or is a favorite of me, na priya. So Krishna says, I hate no one, I love no one, I'm equal to everyone. Okay? But whoever worships me or serves me, what he says, I'm a friend of that person. Okay, so that's natural, isn't it? If you're a person and then if somebody approaches you with a loving sentiment, you'll normally reciprocate. Therefore, he says, Yet hamam prapadite, the way you surrender, the way you approach me, bhajami means reciprocate also, exchange. It's something that you give in response. So Krishna says, I accordingly, I give according to the level of worship or service. So this is, Yudhishthira Maharaj says, is fair, right? If you don't give, when you give those who worship you, and if you don't give to those who don't. So this is very fair. And why you are in such position, he explains, because you are the Supreme. He already calls it in the previous verse, Deva Deva means the Lord of all lords, of all the masters, you're the Supreme Master. And he says, Brahmana, you're the Supreme Brahman. And by definition, Supreme or God or Brahman means absolute. There are no dualities. And that absolute, of course, when we think about impersonal idea of the absolute, it's easy to think how impersonal is impartial, right? There is no person. There is no wishes, desires. It's just one, okay? The light. Can you say the light is partial to you or not to you? You know, it comes only to one face. No, the sun is for everyone. But when we come to a personal idea of the Supreme, then, if there's a person, there will be some personal preferences, right? Desires and hate, whatever. And therefore, in most of the concepts in the word about God, there is some element of this. God is jealous. Have you heard that expression? What does that mean? God is jealous. He's jealous for his people. These are my people. And you have to worship me. If you don't worship me, I'm very jealous if you worship someone else. And I will punish you. Right? And then this is such a common concept. You know, this is our God. And he will protect us. And he will give you, my enemy. and this idea of religion is very limited. And God as the God of our people, of our nation. So when there is wars many times, till today we see, you know, the state church or the state religion say, yes, this war is justified and our God will protect you and punish the other. And they do some worship, offerings, sacrifices to the God, to success of the war, you know. But this is not the understanding of Vedanta, Vaishnava Vedanta, that the Supreme Lord is absolutely equal. He is not partial. He is really transcendental. And he reciprocates also according to the way you approach, right? So that's also very natural. He says, those who are dear to me, those who serve me with devotion, I'm also very friendly toward them. So that's Yudhishthira Maharaj called a fair reciprocation. Okay, and then there's one question, of course, but if the Lord is a person, where is that part, if he is completely equal and very impartial, where's the case for mercy or the quality of mercy and compassion? Because if the example is like a tree, desirity, the tree is just kind of mechanical, isn't it? You come, you ask, if you deserve, here it is. And that's it. But the tree, can we hope that the tree will be compassionate or show special mercy? Isn't it? The tree, it doesn't, that comparison is not there. So here in the commentaries, the acharyas explain, so what about mercy? What about compassion? So where is that in the play here of Krishna's impartiality? So yes, the absolute truth means he has all the qualities. He's impartial and at the same time he's all merciful. There is no limit to his mercy and kindness. So he can show his mercy in an unlimited way, even to those who are not deserving, especially if they approach the Supreme with a proper mood and request. So mercy is there for those because of affection, because of love. So those who exhibit such love and approach Krishna, and then there is this mercy. And therefore we see the acharyas, they appeal to that specific quality. It's actually a Shakti of Krishna, the mercy. And it's personified also by his internal potency. And Srila Prabhupada explains in a purport in the second canto, in a famous verse which is talking about the mercy of Krishna coming to the devotees, and then that it's actually impossible to approach the Lord unless one approaches the Lord's representatives, the devotees, in a humble way, sprinkling the dust of the feet. So Prabhupada explains that Krishna is merciful, but he's just, he's fair. So he usually reciprocates only according to the way you approach. But his special quality of mercy, that special Shakti, which is personified by Srimati Radharani, Srila Prabhupada says, there is no limit, and there is no expectation in that sense. So Prabhupada says, therefore, the devotees approach that, he says, this is the, what was the expression? The tender half of the Supreme Absolute Truth. And because she is unlimitedly merciful and kind, she is ready to bestow her mercy to anyone and everyone without any distinction. So devotees, they appeal to Srimati Radharani, and he says, therefore in Vrindavan, all devotees, they say, Radhe Radhe, or Jaya Radhe. Prabhupada says, they say Jaya Radhe, because they glorify and they approach and they ask for mercy. They ask for acceptance. And Srila Prabhupada says also, that's why we pray and when we chant the names of Radha and Krishna in the Hare Krishna mantra, it's an actually appeal for acceptance. That's Prabhupada says, usually the meaning is, my dear Lord, my energy of the Lord, please engage me in your service. But in another place, in one lecture, Prabhupada says, it means please accept me and don't reject me. And again says, so this is the meaning. When we chant, we say, my dear Lord, my dear energy of the Lord, please accept me. And this is what the acharyas pray. We see so many verses and poems and songs expressing this mood, appealing to that soft-heartedness of Krishna. And because we know that he also comes specifically as an avatara in the mood of Srimati Radharani, and that's why in that specific form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he sees no difference whether someone is deserving or not deserving. Here it is, the greatest gift, which wasn't given before. Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, this is the most splendid and astonishing and most valuable gift of Ujjvala Rasa, the splendid love of God in the most intimate way. He has come, demonstrated it, and he's giving it to everyone. The only qualification, what is required is, this is coming from Nityananda Prabhu actually, anyone knows? What is there must be something, some qualification. What is this qualification? Faith, yes. You have to want it. You have to say, yes, please. He's ready to give it, but you have to, extend your hands and heart and say, yes, I want it. You have to have faith. You have to have desire, conviction. Yes, I want this. This is the most valuable. And he's ready. So the acharyas pray again and again. They say, my dear Lord, I am the most undeserving, like Narottam Das Thakur, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu, Doya Kormo, you are the most merciful, the most kind. Please be merciful to me. Why? Why exactly to me? Patita Pavana Hetu, you, the reason why you came is to save those who are really the lowest. And Mosama Patita Prabhu Napa Ivear. There is no one in this world who is more low than me, more fall. So, therefore, my request is first. Okay? So you came for a specific purpose, to give your mercy or kindness to those who are lowest. And since I'm the lowest of all, you have to give me your mercy. You have to. In another song he says, also a very famous song, he says that your name is Patita Pavana, so you have to live up to your name. Because I'm the most fallen. If you don't give me your mercy, then what people will say? How is he Patita Pavana if he doesn't give mercy to me, the most fallen? So they have a little bit like transcendental blackmailing of, you have to do it because that's who you are. In a similar way, Rupa Goswami prays to Srimati Radharani. It's a wonderful prayer, a short poem, I think, of 6 verses. And he begins by a glorification of Srimati Radharani, how she is wonderful. And then he says, now comes my prayer, my request to you. Krita gaske pyayoge pi janesmin kumatavapi. So he says, Krita agaske means abominable activity, sin, offense, aparada. So Krita, I have made Krita gaske. I'm just constantly making bad things and offenses. Ayogyepi, I'm very foolish. I'm really not intelligent. Krita gaske pyogepi, janesmin kumat avapi. My intelligence is really crooked. I'm a cheater. I'm really low person. So it's a whole list, I'm an offender, I'm foolish, I'm a cheater. So, Krita gaske pyogepi, janesmin kumat avapi. Dasya dana pradanasya lavam apyupapadai. So he says, but can you be kind and give me just a particle of your service? Dasya dana pradanasya lavam apyupapadai. It's just a small particle, and just for a lava, for a split of a second. I don't ask very much. Give me just little service for a little bit of time. So this is his prayer. His request, I beg for a little service. And then he says, Yuktastvayo, because you are what was that? Yuktastvayo jananaiva dukitom yamupekshitom. I'm suffering if you don't give me your mercy. And because your nature is of a special heart. You have a special heart. He says, Kripat dyotach dravat chitta. Chitta means the heart, and your heart is melted all the time. By what? And he says, how it is melted? Kripat dyotach dravat chitta navanitasi yatsada. It's always melted like a soft butter which is freshly churned. So navanita means fresh butter. Have you seen a freshly churned butter? Have you churned yogurt? No? Yes? How? With some? Cream. Oh, from cream. No. So Ayurvedic yogurt is ghee is made, or butter first, is made from yogurt, not cream. So you have to first make milk into yogurt. This one Ayurvedic doctor was telling me. The butter, of course, is very special, and the ghee, which is made in a special way from this navanita, is the healing ghee. But also the leftover product after you churn and you take the butter is called takra, and it's a very, very healthy thing. He says in Ayurveda, it says that it cures 80 types of dosha disbalances and 40 types of pitta, like that. So I said, well, how do I do that? And how do I churn and get this? He said, it's very easy. You take a jar, you put a little bit of yogurt, fresh, made from milk, and then you put some water in a lukewarm temperature, and then you just shake it. If you actually put it in a backpack and have a walk, after 20 minutes, you look, and then the butter is on the top. And that's the navanita. And it's very soft. It's actually almost liquid. So, of course, depending on the temperature. So, anyway, so this is how you churn milk. But you can shake it like that, and then in a few minutes you'll get. Of course, you have to have it from natural. If you buy milk from the store, it will not come. Because they process it so much and they do this homogenization, and then actually the butter is you cannot extract it. So Rupa Goswami is saying your heart is melted by the rays of your mercy, of your compassion. So you're always so compassionate, and therefore you have to give me your mercy. You have to, because that's your nature. You cannot refuse. Although I'm fallen, offender, and foolish, and crooked, you have to be merciful. In another also similar verses, Raghunath Das Goswami, he says, Namunchet charanaya tha apidushta dayamaya. He says that great persons, dayamaya, means those who are very magnanimous. They forgive. They don't reject persons who surrender. Okay, so this is the nature of great persons. You do something wrong, but you go and say, please forgive me. Okay, you're forgiven. I will not reject you. And we see in the story of Parikshit Maharaj, when Kali, who was actually torturing cow and a bull, but when he surrendered and begged, please, and Parikshit forgive and said, okay, I accept you. So Raghunath Das Goswami is praying, he says, great persons in this world, they are famous for that. They don't reject those who surrender. Okay, and then he says, you, Gandharvika and Giridhari, are the most great, the greatest of all, and the most magnanimous, and the most kind and merciful. Therefore, you have to be merciful. So, Munchayman Drisha, please do not reject me. Please do not reject me. So, also this is what Srila Prabhupada many times said, as a prayer, my dear Lord, please do not reject me, even I am so low. So this is the mood, and here Yudhishthira Maharaj is appealing also to Krishna's, at the same time being equal and fair and giving the results to everybody, and this shows his greatness and his impartiality, and at the same time, because of love, he is very kind, he is very merciful, so he is requesting also Krishna to show his mercy to him. And we see that again and again in the relationship with Krishna and the devotees. The devotees ask him and he cannot refuse. Like Yudhishthira Maharaj, when Krishna came and he was about to leave, can you stay some more time? Okay, he stayed for a few more months. And it happened actually 2 times like that. And when he is asked, Krishna cannot refuse. So Krishna is so much dependent on devotees due to their love. He becomes subservient to pure love. And this famous verse is quoted by Jiva Goswami here in his purport. He says, those who worship, the result is not just according to service, the result is more. Even if there is irregularity in the worship, the opposite, no result does not take place. In other words, even if you make service with mistakes, you will still get much greater result than anything. So he gives us a quote, Tulasi dala matre na jalasa chulukena va vikrinite swamatmanam bhaktebhyo bhaktavatsala. This is from Vishnu Dharma, and it says, Krishna, who is very affectionate to his devotees, sells himself to the devotee who offers merely, you know what? Just tulsi leaf and a pailful of water. So, and the word is interesting. Vikrinite means a deal and an exchange, a selling. So Krishna says, you give me a handful of water, and then you purchase me. I'm ready to give myself. Just one leaf and little water. And this is what Advaita Acharya did. He knew that verse, he quoted it, and he says, the Lord is ready to give himself just because of tulsi leaf and water. So he went to the Ganges and he started loudly praying to the Lord, my dear Lord, the situation is really bad. The Kali Yuga is really advancing. People are becoming so materialistic. No one else than you can save them. So you have to come personally. Please come. So he was actually loudly calling the Lord and worshipping with Ganges water and tulsi leaves. And then Lord Chaitanya many times after that, when he appeared, he reminded Advaita Acharya, I came because of you. You called me loudly. You wake me up. So I had to come because of your loud crying. So this is the devotee's heart. It's to attract the mercy of the Lord, not only for himself, but also for others. He wants to show Krishna's greatness. He wants to show the greatness of Krishna's service, and thus benefit everyone in this world. So thank you for your kind attention. Yes. We have some mic here, yeah, so that others online can hear.
I basically have two questions, but I think they sort of combine. The first one is that sometimes I have the impression that some people have, it's way easier for them to have faith compared to others. And from there, I was wondering, because you mentioned we should surrender to be able to get mercy. And how does one without strong faith surrender if his faith in the holy name into the Lord isn't that strong? I don't know if the question is clear.
So how do we get that faith and surrender?
How do we get that faith, and if we feel that our faith is not strong, how do we surrender?
Okay. If our faith is not strong, how do we surrender? Thank you. It's a very nice question, because if this is the only currency, we have to know where to get it. And as we actually, in another place it said faith and conviction must be there, and that conviction translates actually into great desire or longing. This is another way of saying, and Rupa Goswami specifically says this is the currency to purchase Krishna, basically. And he says, if you know that somewhere you can get that strong desire, which is also strong conviction, strong faith, you have to get it at any cost. That's his advice. So he says, if you know that it's somewhere on the market, they sell, so you just go on Amazon or somewhere, can you check for a Lobha for Krishna or Vishwasa, the strong conviction, and they say, yeah, we have it's an offer, it's a deal nowadays, it's very cheap. He says, if you can purchase it, pay the price. If you can even borrow it, get it. If you can steal it, even steal it. So he beg, borrow, steal, but get it. But, so, this is just the mood the Acharyas explain. Now, how do we develop this conviction and the following taste or strong desire after that? Prabhupada gave the example many times, actually. It is something that you catch. It is not a thing that you learn by study. Okay, let me study. Well, it is necessary also that we become convinced of who the Supreme is by understanding, etc. But this is just we could say intellectual conviction, but what we speak here, we are something of the heart, a faith which is really something much stronger, because some intellectual conviction can change. Somebody can come. That's why Prabhupada says faith or a religious belief can change. Somebody comes and has a debate with you, convinces you with the opposite. Okay, you changed your belief. But that Vishvasa is a very strong conviction. It comes from the heart. And so that is not accomplished by just some intellectual exercise. It comes, it's a Shakti actually. It's Bhakti is a Shakti, and it is transferred. Okay? There is a famous saying, which I like it, of a sadhu saying, Bhakti is Shakti. Bhakti is not taught, it is caught. You catch it. And how you catch it? By proximity, by association. You have to mingle, you have to, especially if you serve. And this is what Rupa Goswami says. You have to approach those who are already have that. Already those you observe, they have very strong faith and very strong desire to serve Krishna. And then you approach them, you associate, you hear. This is what he explains in Nectar of Instruction. Then you have to, those who are very strongly established in their service to Krishna, and their hearts are free completely from the propensity to criticize others. These are the best devotees. You have to shushrushaya. It's a word which means hear from them and serve them with veneration. Both meanings are there in this. So once you approach this such devotees, then naturally they will bestow this. And just by being close, I mean, there are so many stories in Shastra also, even unknowingly. For example, who was that devotee? Who saw Srinivasacharya. And just by seeing, and actually he was traveling, he was at his wedding, and he just saw the Acharya sitting there and chanting. And this was enough to completely transform the heart. So such powerful devotees, they can do things like that. But usually we require some, initial steps. And for that, of course, you need some initial conviction that this association will be beneficial for me. So at least for that. And for that, again, you usually get it by hearing, by influence of some others, by friends. They tell you, oh, this is a good thing. And this comes, Acharyas explain, by doing something which is good, but not just mundane, in mundane sense. That's called bhakti unmukha sukriti, something which is pious, but it brings you to bhakti eventually. And so it starts like that. It's a whole discussion actually. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in the beginning of Madhurya Kadambini, he explains how is bhakti coming? How do you get that bhakti? And then he says that, it's a long discussion, but basically, the beginning is by doing something even unknowingly. For example, Prabhupada says, you appreciate things related to, or persons related to bhakti. You appreciate devotees. And Prabhupada says, if you say, oh, this is very nice, these people are very nice. Like you've been in so many Harinams and many people saw you, and they say, oh, these young people, they look so happy and they dance and sing. I like them. Prabhupada says, this is Shraddha. This is faith. Or this is the very first step of faith. You appreciate. And then you may even say the holy name or hear, and then you take prasad, and then this gradually purifies, transforms, and then your faith becomes stronger, and then you start to associate more and learn more, and then start practicing, and then it becomes more. So the whole path from Shraddha to Prema is actually increasing of that strong conviction and desire. So that's how we develop. But basically through association. So we help, first of all, we develop our faith like that by association, and we help others by giving association also. Yes, Mataji.
Oh, thank you, Mahendra Prabhu. Thank you so much. Amazing class. Yeah, nice. Your answer is yes. But the last thing you said, I would compromise it in the following words of Srila Prabhupada. He said, chant, eat Krishna prasadam, and what was it? Chant, dance, and eat Krishna prasadam. And he said, and this is the process. Because in this age of Kali, it is very difficult to get faith. It's difficult. You mentioned the whole process, experience, sangha, all these things. But by chanting properly, without offenses, by eating Krishna prasadam, by dancing, all these things, at a certain moment the heart will melt. And one point I also want to mark is, fortunately, we live in the age of Kali, which my guru also calls the golden age, because it's the age of unlimited mercy. So even if you do the process as Prabhupada describes, chant, be happy, and eat Krishna prasadam, you do that, and my Guru Maharaj said, and they will add the mercy. At the end of the day, if you follow this, the mercy from for the Parampara, the Acharyas, the Goswamis, on the top, and that will bring you to Krishna. Yes.
Thank you. Eka Chakra now.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Wonderful lecture. So I was thinking, when we would go on book distribution, then we had so much faith in the fact that when the people we approach, that if they would have some kind of appreciation or some kind of contact with Prabhupada's books, they would benefit. And sometimes it would go to quite an extreme, that if you approach them and you want to give a book in their hands, because that was our meditation, if they touch Prabhupada's books, even if they don't take, then their faith will develop because of this agyata sukriti. So then sometimes they didn't want to take in their hands even, they were so averse. And then we would make a trick like, oh, and then look in your bag, can you hold my, and then they would have this whole stack of books. And then, we were already happy that,
That's enough.
So that reminded me of that devotees, when they have this faith that we received the mercy like that, and although we are still maybe at the beginning stages of bhakti, if you apply that principle that I received it, so now I have to do some payback, then anyone you meet, also here in Rounders, all the guests, anything that you do with them can trigger this faith or this spark. So I think we should all be very conscious of how to deal with people who visit or we come in contact with, that if they appreciate something that we do in relationship to Krishna consciousness, that will open their path. So any one of us, despite our fallen situation, we can be merciful if we are kind and caring, and realize that we somehow or other we received some of that bhakti. So how can I give it to the person who maybe deserves it more? So I think it's a very nice how bhakti travels with the devotee. That's actually what you were mentioning. Bhakti is coming from bhakti. It's coming from a devotee.
Thank you, Guru. Yes, this is indeed, we have a great responsibility that we behave in a way that exemplifies a true devotee, and even if we're not that advanced, at least we can try to behave. That's called also sadachara or behavior, saintly behavior. So when people see, like you said, kindness, these were the words also coming to my mind, and respect and care, and they appreciate immediately, even if they don't take anything, as you said, even the books or small things will actually be touching in some way or other their hearts. And the example of book distribution is really relevant, because you encounter people sometimes for a short time, and then, yes, touching the book, opening, saying a word, or even, I just remembered the example of Vaisheshika Prabhu, who was, he's so expert to engage in any possible way. So he gave a book, and then a person said, well, I don't have anything to give. And he said, no, I don't have money. He said, do you have anything? anything. And the person, I don't have anything to give you. And then he was looking in his pocket, so he had a cigarette pack and a lighter. This is only, and Vaishesha said, I can take the lighter. So he got it, and he was using it for his puja. So this is how, the person gets benefit. His lighter now is used in Lord's service. Yes, yeah. And then Krishna will remember, that person, this is the lighter of this person. And that's how, this is kindness, this is mercy. And then the person, this is called really Agyata Sukriti. So the next step will he'll appreciate, he'll read the book like that. So, yeah, this is our duty to try our best to show the people what bhakti is in practice in our life. Any other points, reflections, or questions?
No questions, small thing. When you speak about faith, I forgot to say, it's faith in the holy name. That's it.
Okay, faith in the holy name.
And have
Faith in the holy name.
Have faith in the holy name, then by chanting, and then.
Okay, so last thing I also forgot to mention that when I said association, that is, of course, physical is wonderful, but also we associate mostly through sound. And we should remember that also it's not just being close to somebody physically. Prabhupada says, he gives that example, with the disciple and guru. Doesn't necessarily those who are dear are those who are close. He said, the guru has even a mosquito, very close. But what is the point? So it's something else. It is the sound. It's the association to hearing, to the words, and we are so fortunate that we can associate with all our parampara acharyas just by hearing. Prabhupada, Prabhupada is there in his purpose. He says, I'll be always in my books. And he says also, when you read, for example, Nectar of Devotion, you associate directly with Srila Rupa Goswami. And when we hear their songs, and also Prabhupada wanted, and he did it every day whenever he had time, but especially in the early days, we hear in the biographies, he was always singing the Acharya songs. Therefore, we have a songbook of the Acharyas. Why? Because this is a very direct way to associate with their hearts. They express their hearts, and by singing and hearing what they said and how they approach Krishna, then our hearts are shaped in that way. And when we hear about their faith, their strong conviction, then we also gradually develop it. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
So nice. I'm happy I don't have to sit and listen.